Did you make a video from last week?
Yeah, I had a listing, so I made a video, and I do have a question.
Okay, awesome.
How do you, when you put text in the boxes, how do you adjust how much time the text is up there?
So that's actually really easy. There's Michelle. Let me share my screen with you.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do this.
Morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Michelle. Hey, Brandon.
Hello.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn my camera off and then I'm gonna share my screen with you guys.
That was weird.
Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Hi, Brandy.
Okay, so this is the test video, Scott, that we made last week.
Okay.
And if you click, so select down here in your storyboard, click on the, I guess, slide or whatever that you're trying to edit, and then just click into text. And you can drag the text. This is actually what's controlling how long the text will appear. So if it's like on a still photo, what you would want to do is adjust the time by clicking. Oh, shoot, that's not going to work because that's a video. So on a still photo, you would click the time, adjust the time here, however many seconds you want it to run. And then once you do that, so like, I'll just do it for you. I'll show you. Add text. And then when you, I got to minimize this so I can see what I'm doing. And then you can just drag it here. So if you only want to do for half the time or the whole 7 seconds, however you want to do it.
Okay, that's really easy. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's super, super simple. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started. There's this little box. It's like right in the, there we go. Okay, so I don't think that we're going to take up the whole hour unless you guys have a ton of questions. I'm going to skip the first two portions of this, so the creating content and getting organized. I'll briefly kind of do a once over on where to find stuff, the video editor and that type of thing, but we're going to kind of jump into this training at build the video. So importing your media into the project library and actually creating the video, and then finishing it, publishing it to your Facebook or Instagram, wherever you're putting it. And I'll go over some best practices with you guys as well. So I don't know if any of you have any formal training with videography or photography, but there's a couple kind of rules, I guess, that I think you all will benefit from following. So when you're out there taking walkthrough videos or pictures of homes or properties that you're going to post videos for, make sure that as you're taking the video, you're shooting it to edit it. So think about the final product when you go in. Don't just go in willy-nilly. You really need to have actually a plan. So imagine yourself doing it like a walkthrough. And I wouldn't talk, honestly. I wouldn't speak in the videos. I think you can do a better job of adding like a voiceover after the fact. It's going to have a lot more professional feel if you don't have a lot of like background noise and stuff. And you can record the audio on your phone and upload it from there. You know, sit in the, you know, spare bedroom where it's real quiet and do it that way. But one thing that I think you should do is take way more pictures and way more video than you think you'll need. We call them safety shots. And this saves you time later. You don't have to go back and, redo the pictures or take more video because you forgot to get, your curb shot or whatever. It's going to save you time in the long run if you just take more than you think you're going to need. Another thing that I want to point out is the autofocus feature on a lot of cameras, and even your iPhone has an autofocus. And if you're using it in low light, it will kind of, it'll go in and out of focus, and it gives it this weird kind of blurry effect. So I would recommend switching your autofocus off, especially if you're in a low light situation. If you have a lot of light, that's not usually a problem, but just keep that in mind. And then the rule of thirds. So this is, I think, the most important thing when you're taking pictures. This is something that I learned, I think in my very first videography class. And the rule of thirds, it's basically mentally dividing your picture up using a grid, 2 horizontal lines, 2 vertical lines. So tic-tac-toe, basically. And then you position the picture within that grid along certain lines. So I'm going to show you guys an example of what that looks like. So this is a grid for the rule of thirds. And the way that I usually think of it, and this is just kind of how it's stuck in my head, 1/3 for this, 2/3 for that. So you can see that in this picture, 1/3 of it up here is sky, the rest is for everything else. And you position it so that the focal point will line up with where the lines intersect. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but once it kind of clicks in your head, that's how you're going to take your photos from there on out. It never goes away. It's like riding a bike. I just divide it up usually by the colors in the picture, like sky versus, ground. In a house, you could do like the position of the furniture, or, I would do like flooring versus blank wall space or something like that. So this is something that if you want to look into it, you can find YouTube videos, articles, galore. It's really easy to research, and if you want to dig into it more, there's tons of info out there, but it's kind of one of the very basic things that all photographers and videographers use. So I think that you guys would really benefit from that one. These are a couple things that I just recently learned in a training this week, actually. I'll do a training with you guys next week, digging into this a little bit more. But when you're running these ads on Facebook, there is a difference between boosting a post and creating an ad. Boosting a post is good for kind of like expanding your reach. So if you're just trying to kind of get some brand recognition, get your name out there, then yeah, have at it. Boost a post. I would do maybe not necessarily like an open house. I wouldn't boost a post like that. I would boost a post just like kind of your calling card, or advertising, just you as an agent, your practice. But when you're creating an ad, so if you're doing like an open house this weekend, I would do a paid ad for that. It's more targeted. It's actually specifically designed by Facebook to get return. So you're getting more clicks on it. I mean, you pay more for the ad, so you're getting more value there. And organic Facebook posts that you're boosting, they're actually seen by less than 3% of your followers. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but ads are really, really where it's at. I would suggest running an ad for about a week. You want to give it a lot of time, but not too much time, because the more you pay per day. So if you have an option I don't know how many of you have run ads on Facebook, but when you run an ad on Facebook, you have an option of paying like, I'm going to set a budget of $50, and I'm going to let this ad run for 2 weeks. Or you can say, I'm going to spend $5 per day, and I'm only going to let the ad run for 1 week. You get better return when you're spending more per day as opposed to running an ad over the long term. I'm not honestly quite sure why that is, but it's true. Once you start looking at the data, and Facebook gives you a ton of data when you run ads, so it's all there. But you do get a lot more value when you're paying more per day. Use a combination of video and still photos. It kind of creates a more interesting feel, and they tend to, when advertisers use control groups, and we'll get into this, it's like A/B testing, they perform better when you're using a combination of video and still photos. I would set the distance or the radius, the reach of your ad really to pretty close to home. I would stick within about 20 miles. You're going to get a lot more local people that way, not people just passing through. And then don't use buzzwords or the word you. There's actually algorithms built into Facebook that will kick your ad back. So if you have the word you or free or no strings attached, it kind of flags your ad to Facebook and it doesn't get seen as much. So they do this kind of as a safety net for them. They don't want it to be too, I don't know, junk mail-ish, I guess you could say. So you can change it, change your wording usually is all you have to do. Use your or yourself as opposed to you. Just kind of play with your wording there. And you want it to sound natural. Don't try to sound cheesy or used car salesy. And then I would consider running A/B ads to filter effectiveness. Now these are control groups. So you create two different ads. They can be similar, but a little bit different. And then you send one ad to group A and the other ad to group B, let it run for a week, 2 weeks, however long you want. And then you're collecting data on that. And then whichever ad is performing better at the end of the test run, that's what you push out to everybody. So if you have the time, it's a great way to not only gather data on your contacts, but also figuring out what's working best for your business as far as advertising goes. Okay, so those are kind of my tips and tricks of the trade, I guess. So we're going to jump into the actual editing portion. And I think you guys, are there any questions before I move on? No? Okay. So you guys all probably have played around with this a little bit, but for anybody who hasn't yet, to find the video editor, it comes preloaded on most personal computers. Just in your search bar down at the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to search for video editor. And then I'm going to give you a really brief, quick overview of what it looks like once you open up the program. So this is a project within the program. And over here, we've got our project library. So this is where you're dumping all of your pictures, your media, everything you're using to create your video. On the bottom is a storyboard. So this is where you do the bulk of the work. And then of course we have this preview window right here. But these are the toolbars. There's two. The one in the storyboard is a little bit different than what we went over last week. So I'm going to spend some time kind of dissecting that and showing you guys what's new. And then of course the toolbar at the top right-hand corner is where you put your audio in, any voiceovers that you're adding, the background music, and then it's also where you save and finish your video and export it. But for today, we're going to go over this toolbar on the storyboard real quick. And most of this, you guys have probably already seen, and we did go over it last week, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. The title card, again, that's where you can add basic text. It's a simple way to get your contact information in there, or your call to action at the end of the video. I forgot to have Lori grab the phones again. Sorry, guys. So I would recommend using, I talked a little bit about it last week, using like PowerPoint or Google Slides to make a more professional looking title card. You guys can do it however you want. Trimming your media. So this is a new one. We didn't go over this last week. This allows you to cut smaller portions out of video. So if you have like a 10-minute walkthrough video that you did, you can trim it down pretty easily using this or the split button. This will actually, the split button is cool because you don't have to worry about matching up the exact second on the video. And this might not make much sense until we get in there and I actually show it to you, but it's an easy way to take a long piece of video, cut it up so that you can add different like text or displays to it. This is where you actually add the text. The motion is what creates that realistic kind of walkthrough feeling on the still videos. It keeps them interesting. I would recommend putting motion, and I told you guys this last week, I'll say it again. I recommend putting it on every single still photo. The 3D effects are corny, and I don't really foresee anybody using them, so I'm just crossing them off and not talking about them today. They're pretty cheesy. You can play around with them if you want, but I don't see it being something that anyone's going to use. The pre-made filters are nice because if you have pictures that are not that great quality, kind of low lighting, you can mess around with the filters and try to find something that kind of brightens it up. There's not a lot in there, but sometimes they do work. Speed is another new one. You can slow down or speed up a video clip. I think one thing that is hard when you're creating these walkthrough videos is to remember that you're probably going faster than you think. So this is nice because if you get home, you know, throw all your video into your computer and realize you were buzzing through it way too quickly, you can use this to slow it down. You don't have to go reshoot the whole thing. This just toggles between full screen. Rotate is another nice one. You don't have to worry about rotating your photos. Like if your photos are sideways or something like that or upside down, you don't have to edit them before you import them. You can just do that right here. And deleting anything off of your storyboard is done with that key. And then removing all the selected media from your storyboard is done there. So that doesn't delete them from your project library. It just takes them out of the storyboard itself. So I am going to walk you guys through actually creating a video. Let me see. And I would encourage you to follow along on your computer as we're doing this. I know Ryan did it last week and he emailed me a video by the time the class was over. So it was pretty cool. I'm going to show you, and I posted this, I think last week on the Facebook page, but I just deconstructed it and then I'm going to reconstruct it and walk you guys through how I did that. So I'll just show you the finished product real quick. Kind of cheesy. This was just something that I put together to kind of show you guys how to splice things together, add the, you know, the text to it and all of that stuff. You can do, there's so much you can do with this. You can do this, something like this, like more brand recognition, the walkthrough videos. If you're not comfortable, I know that, I think it was Kate Saldano mentioned that she did a Facebook Live, like basically a house showing. And if that's something that you're not comfortable doing, like live on camera, you can actually create a video like this. So do the walkthrough, splice it all together, edit it up nice and pretty, and then create a Facebook Live watch party. And that way you're not like live right there on camera, but you still are there to walk people through the house. You can answer any questions in real time that they have. So that's always an option. I think that would be something that you guys could definitely use this for. So the first, okay, so this is what it looks like. I threw our videos, and I got these videos off of Pexel, Pexel.com. It's on, I sent it out on the Agent Drive last week. So if you guys need the resources from the last class, just let me know. But that's where I got all of this media. It's all free. You can download it. It's really simple to use. The first thing that I did when I started creating this video was thinking about, okay, what do I want it to say? What kind of video, are you trying to create? What's your message? If you go into this without a clear message, it's not going to work. So something that is short, we can push out to, the local population. We don't need a whole lot of time. I would keep any of these videos for brand recognition purposes under 1 minute. I mean, who watches a 3-minute commercial? That's just not something that we normally do. But for walkthroughs and stuff, definitely you can do up to 30 minutes, I would say, for a walkthrough. But for these, you want them short, sweet. You want to make sure that you have a clear message, and then you can start gathering, your videos and your pictures, I should say. So for this one, this was really all the media that I needed. Some of these clips are pretty long. And this one in particular, I think is like 30 seconds or something like that. You have 20 seconds. Delete that. So first thing I'm gonna do is put them on my storyboard in the order that I'm gonna use. So what I did for this particular one was I wrote out my script first, and a script for a 40-second commercial is really short. So my script consisted of, what are you looking for in a new home? And then I was thinking about, okay, well, what would I be looking for in a new home? More space for yoga, a home office, a bigger kitchen. And then I wanted, to be able to convey that, but also use the text. So these are the videos that I picked out. I honestly put this all together, start to finish, in I think 40 minutes last week. So it's not like I spent a ton of time researching or looking at videos to pick. It was pretty simple. So my script, what are you looking for in a new home? We're going to start out with this, right? It's just a still photo, not much to it. And then next I had more space for yoga, a home office. We'll use that one. More room to cook. Throw that one down here. And then we're going to come in with, no problem. Keller Williams can do that. So I'm going to throw that one in there. That's a pretty long video. And then we'll finish the whole thing with this one. Looks like they're working, right? Okay, so we're going to start here, and I'll show you guys what this looks like before. Let me just take the background music off, sorry. Okay, so this is what it looks like before you do any editing, add anything to it. It's not very fancy. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's just some videos thrown together, right? I'm not going to make you watch that whole thing. So what we're going to do first is kind of do the introduction. I'm just going to add some text to this. Let's see. What are you looking for in a new home? And then you can mess around with this stuff down here. I'm just going to, for the sake of being simple, going to leave it like that. And then this is only 2 seconds, not even 2 seconds long. So we want to definitely make that a little longer. And Scott, this is when you extend a picture like that, you actually have to go back in and make sure that you extend the text as well if you want it to show up for the whole thing. So make sure that you do that. So we've got that first one for 5 seconds. We'll do a little preview. Gorgeous, perfect, awesome. Okay, so this next one, I don't necessarily want the text, well, it's only 2 seconds long, so it does need to pop up right away. So what are you looking for in a new home? More space for yoga? Question mark. Okay, we'll see if that's real. No, not even. Back it up. That's a pretty short clip. I don't know why it's so short. And because I trimmed this from something else, let me see. Sorry, guys. Trying to find the original clip. There it is. Okay. So what I just did was imported the original clip, and this should be a little bit longer, I believe. Yep, so this one is actually 6 seconds, and it looks like this one was trimmed down. So I'm just gonna delete this card that we just created and throw the text on this new one. And perfect. I'm going to have it pop up a little later. See, I'm going to allow like half a second for the clip to start. And preview that. Perfect. Okay, so that looks good. Move on to the next one. I don't think we need this one playing for, whoops, sorry about that, for a full 6.5 seconds. So what I'm going to do is actually trim it down. So before I trim it, I'm going to add our text. Just like that. I'm going to keep the same style just for formatting purposes. And then we can trim it down. So make sure you've got the one you want, go to trim. And using this, you can actually, so this is actually looks like a almost 17-second video. We really only want to use probably the first, I don't know, 3 seconds, maybe. So we'll preview that one. Perfect. You see how quickly you can actually get through these? It does not take much time at all. If you have a plan when you go into it, of course. It doesn't look like it matches, right? There we go. Back up a little bit, preview it. And I realized that should be a question mark. Let's fix that. Okay. And then this one, we're going to say, you know what, actually, this is the whole, sorry, I'm trying to figure out which, and I just did this morning. And I think what I did was I accidentally imported the cut videos instead of the originals. So Give me just a second. Shoot, I'm sorry, you guys. We'll check this. Yeah, that's the full length one. 20 seconds, yep, okay. So I'm gonna delete this one because it's only, if you look right here, you can see it's 1.63 seconds long. So that's garbage. I'm gonna delete that. And this one is 20 seconds long. So this is way too long for our commercial. We definitely want to cut it down. We'll play the full clip so you guys can kind of see it all together before we cut it up. So these are our fake Keller Williams real estate agents. And we definitely don't need that entire clip of video. So what I'm gonna do is trim it up first. And the cool thing about the trim feature is it actually like takes you through the video as you're dragging it. So you can see where you're starting and stopping. I think we used about 13 seconds of it last time in the original video. So we'll go with that. And then in order to add multiple text to a long clip of video like this, you have to cut the video up. You can't put multiple text on one clip. So what you can do is use the split feature. So I'm going to cut this video. Now the first thing we're going to say is on our script it was, what are you looking for in a new home? More space for yoga, a home office, room to cook? No problem. So that's our next part is just 2 words, no problem. Pretty quick, right? 2 seconds should be plenty of time. So we'll just pull this bar over here to about 2 seconds, and it's gonna cut this entire clip of video into 2 sections. So the first section is gonna be 2 seconds. The second section is gonna be whatever's left over, so 11.1 seconds. So we'll cut that. You can see down here now we've got 2-second video and we've got an 11-second video. So we're gonna add text to this one. No problem. And then the next line in our script is, let's see, let our professional agents walk you through the buying process. So that's longer, so we're gonna put it on this 11-second video clip. So we'll just go add text. And we want to stretch this out for the entire clip. We'll leave a little space here at the front end. I think it just looks a little better usually. So we're gonna back this all the way up and preview those 2 that we just split apart and added text to. Perfect. And then finishing up the video. So the very last thing we're gonna say is kind of our calling card, and we're gonna put it right here on this clip. Let's see, we'll just say Keller Williams, your real estate professionals, or whatever your calling card is, or your phone number, or whatever you want to put there. You can end it with an actual calling card like we did last time. And I can show you guys real quick here a picture of that, I think. Maybe. Right here. So if you wanted to add something like this, you could. That's what we had in our last video. Or you could end it, end the video there, whichever. The very last thing we're gonna do is
Brittany. Hey, Brittany.
Go ahead.
Did you make the calling card in PowerPoint or did you use something different?
I used PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Okay, so The very last thing we're going to do to kind of tie it all together is add some background music. And I don't know what I used last time, but that's probably good enough. Oops. Did you see what I did there? I didn't sync it. So make sure that you're syncing your video, and you can see it do its little thing. It's going to adjust some of your times. It does not adjust them too much, especially if they're video. Okay, so I'm going to, let's take a look at our final product. And there you have it. The last thing you want to do is finish the video. So you click up here in the right-hand corner, export it. Always do the highest quality available. I recommend always putting it in the file that you started with, just to kind of keep it all in one spot so it's easy to find. I'm going to cancel that. And then, so I guess the only other thing I wanted to show you guys today, if nobody has questions on any of that stuff, I'll give you a second. Does anyone have any questions so far? Nothing? Okay. So I wanted to show you guys a couple cool videos just to give you some ideas on how to take video when you're creating these fake, well, not fake, but the walkthrough videos. And I found these on Pexel, and I thought that some of their creative, just the way that they were shooting it was kind of cool. And this is definitely something that any of us could do. I would possibly suggest buying a gimbal. It's just something that you use to steady your hand, and it makes it look a lot more professional. You can get them on Amazon for like 80 bucks. But I just wanted to play this and give you guys some ideas on how you can kind of get creative in your shots when you're doing these open house videos. I wouldn't necessarily recommend having a random girl watering plants, but you know what I mean.
Hey, Brittany,
Mm-hmm.
I just got my gimbal,
Oh, you did? Awesome.
and I'm going to tell you, this is our next challenge because I do not know how to use this thing. And we're all going to have to challenge each other to video with these things because this is crazy cool, but we got to spend some time with these to learn how to use them.
Which brand did you get?
It's H-O-H-E-M.
H-E.
Hohem.
Hohem. I'm going to check that out. Did you get it on Amazon?
It was Amazon's highest rated. It was, I think, just a little under 80 bucks. Comes with a tripod, and I've got a lot of videos to watch to learn how to use it, but it's super cool. It's really cool.
Awesome. And you know, you guys can always go
Figure out how to use those.
Okay, Brandy, I challenge you.
So yeah, that's kind of, you know, the more advanced features within the video editing program. Again, this is one of the most basic programs out there. If you want to spend a little bit of money, you can get a program that does a whole heck of a lot more. But this is a good jumping off point, and I think for most of us, it's going to do the trick. So.
All right.
Any questions? I'm trying to figure out how to unshare my screen. There we go.
I have a quick question that may be totally random, but on the toolbar, you were talking about shortening things up or splitting them in half.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what people are doing to split videos to make them short enough for Instagram?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe that or using the trim feature, which split will just cut it right in half.
50-50.
You can toggle it around. It splits it into 2 separate clips. If you trim it, it's actually like deleting the rest of the video, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And Brittany,
Mhm.
where did you get the video clips? The ones that you just pulled?
They're from Pexel. It's, how do you spell that? It's PEXEL.com. And they have tons of free photos, free videos. That's where I get most of my stuff, honestly.
Okay.
So yeah, next week I've got a couple classes to go through, but next week we're gonna talk. I'll do another class and we'll talk more about like posting on social media, how to use command to post to Facebook, because I don't think a lot of people know this, but Keller Williams actually collaborated with Facebook when they were creating the platform to push things out on social media. So they actually work really well together. So I'm going to learn a little bit more about that, and then I'll teach you guys a class, I think probably Wednesday.
I just did my first Facebook ad through command.
How'd it go?
It was pretty cool. Laura had to walk me through a couple of parts because there were some things that weren't working right, but we got it set up. I did an ad on that new listing on Crest Acres Place. And when it pops up in somebody's feed, they get a box that if they want to be taken to the site, which is just the listing site,
Mm-hmm.
they have to enter their name. And it looks like all they're doing is just entering their name. But really what is then happening is Facebook is taking their name, their full name, their address, or not their address, their email address and their cell phone number. And it's coming in as a command lead that's organized under a campaign.
That's
So
amazing.
everybody who clicks into that to see the actual pictures of the house on the website is entered in my command database right off the bat.
That's
So depending on how aggressive you want to be, you could call every single person who looks at your Facebook ad if you wanted to.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
I've been surprised at how well it worked.
Awesome. Yeah, I think people are gonna like it. And once they learn that it was built with Facebook in mind, I think they'll be a little more comfortable using it. So yeah.
Thank you, Brittany.
Yeah, of course. Thank you
I'm
guys.
jumping off. Bye.
Bye. We'll talk to you guys
Thanks.
later.
Thanks, Brittany.
Yep.
Thank you, Brittany.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.